I'm Tim Gardam, Chief Executive of the Nuffield Foundation, and today is meant to be very practical, to give anyone who applies to Nuffield a clear picture of what we fund, what we expect of a grant holder, and why we as a charitable foundation whose aim is advancing social well-being believe funding research is a worthwhile way of doing this. In a nutshell, the Nuffield research portfolio combines the most rigorous analytical understanding of the data with a curiosity to encounter and listen to the experience of those whose lives make up those data. So let me say a little about how we relate to our grant holders. We are a responsive funder. We don't want to determine the research questions you're going to examine. We recognise that just because we have the funding, it doesn't mean we have the best ideas. But we are also a proactive funder in this sense. We engage with our grant holders to enhance their work. We use our experience in events and public affairs to pull together the findings that might otherwise get lost in academic journals, and we help you bring them to wider attention. Our three principal areas of research interest are education, justice and welfare, and the interconnections between them, because that's what makes us distinctive. Educational opportunity, from the earliest years to the transition to the world of work. Welfare, that interaction of macro and micro economic and social pressures on communities and on people's domestic lives, especially those of the most disadvantaged. And access to the justice system, in the end the arbiter of individual rights in relation to the state. Now the research we fund, whether strategic in scope or on a smaller scale, shares certain things in common. Above all, our belief in its potential to generate evidence capable of bettering individual life chances in a world of increasing inequality, and improving the security, prosperity and well-being of families and communities across the United Kingdom. Now we do this by enabling a better understanding of the factors that serve to hold people back, and which shed new light on the causes of disadvantage and disparity that people are subject to over the course of their lives. From the foundations of a child's early years development to the fundamental significance of the education system in realizing potential, to the specific vulnerabilities faced by older people in an aging society, the Nuffield Foundation funds research that has the potential to improve policy and practice across the generations. We also have a broad interest in the wider social and economic factors that shape our lives, from the world of work and the way it impacts on our livelihoods, via automation and globalization, through the economic insecurity of the gig economy, to the risks and outcomes that relate to where someone is born and raised. And then there's the role that intersectionality plays in compounding disadvantage. How and why people are affected differently depending on their class, their gender or their ethnicity, or whether they have a disability. We also have a core interest in the impact of scientific and technological developments on social well-being. There's a lot more to do on the impact of artificial intelligence and developments in bioscience, the opportunities as well as the risks, and how we might mitigate the potential for digital technologies to exacerbate existing inequalities. We also encourage our grant holders to anticipate emerging trends and future shocks. How can we ensure that the next generation has the skills it needs to flourish in a changing world of work? What is the impact of demography? And what are the links between a productive and a caring society? How can often polarized communities navigate issues arising from migration and integration? And at the foundations of a just society, access to the justice system itself, the platform upon which any social contract must depend. Our best research provides that shock of understanding about the sort of society we're becoming. We need the arresting perspectives that new and diverse voices can bring. We need to hear from people, organisations and disciplines who can bring fresh insights to bear, as well as helping to identify and plug existing gaps in the evidence base. Impact is a much used phrase. At Nuffield, we look over the medium term. But the way I would put it is this. In 2030, what research will we look back on that we've funded in 2023 and recognise how important it was that we did just that? Nuffield's research over many years has demonstrated the power of evidence to change lives. We want to hear from you.